Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Kung Fu book review. Today we are going to be reviewing Simply Wing Chun Kung Fu by this guy, Sifu Shuan RawCliffe, and if I was going to summarize my review in one liner, which is, if you're going to buy one book on Wing Chun, buy this book. Buy this guy's book, right? It's the best Wing Chun book that I've read, basically. It's brilliant. It is a very, very well written, in sort of simple technical language, that gets right to the point, and it's focused on the theory and the principles of Wing Chun. But on the top of, it's got all the principles and the theories clearly explained. But on top of that, it breaks down, pretty much everything in the system, right? All of the empty hand stuff, right? Not the weapons and the wooden man, etc. But it covers all three forms. It covers Chi Sao. It covers your sort of psychological stages of training, and as I said, it covers the basic principles with an emphasis on the key gates and footwork that you need. It's just got this brilliant style where and everything is like summarized. It's just to jump into it. It's got this brilliant way of writing where with things like little checklists, right? So whenever you perform a movement, it'll say, like, for example, this one is talking about Fak Sao, right? So whisking hand, right? So, and then it'll say, this is the movement, and it'll break it down, often with these great line diagrams, which I'll come back to and talk about later. Maybe with a sort of a brief training phrase, but then we'll close with a checklist, pointers. You must do this, this, and this, and it repeats and emphasizes those different pointers. Yeah, so it's just brilliant. Like, it's very well written. It's well structured. We'll go over each of the different parts in detail in a minute, but absolutely great book. So who is this guy? So he's a very well established Wing Chun instructor, operates in the north of England, and with a great lineage, right? So he trained with some of Ip Man's sons, right? And lived in their house for a while. He's trained in Hong Kong. So excellent lineage. Undisputedly knows the real stuff and has got it firsthand from teachers in China. He's got a good sized organization up in the north of England. I haven't trained directly with him, but I have met some of his students and sort of done at Chi Sao gatherings and other things down in London. Also, one of my Tai Chi and Wing Chun teachers has also gone to some of his seminars and stuff, and he said excellent. All the students are good as well, which is a really strong sign. So rather than just him being good, the students are great as well. So yeah, really solid, brilliant understanding of the stuff, and still active teacher. On top of that, he's done some like close protection work and stuff, which is is always kind of good for me, because I think it also shows that you have a little bit of a real understanding of sort of real violence on top of just the theoretical aspects of Kung Fu, even though I also think that's great. So so great lineage, knows what he's talking about, and also writes well. So which is not not always the way it works out, right? Sometimes you have great teachers with great knowledge, but they when they try and put it down in the written word, it doesn't always pan out great. So what's he got in the book? So there's a contents page. So he's got some forwards and acknowledgements and a little bit of an introduction. He doesn't spend too long there. Sort of introduces himself and says thanks to some of the people. So not huge fanfare there. Cracks on with it straight away. He covers a brief history of Wing Chun, but really it's the highlight reel. It's not an extended history, because that's not the purpose of this book. There are other great books and people that are actually sort of specific Wing Chun historians that look into that sort of thing. So, just does the bare bones just to get you there. And then the big strength is it starts from sort of page 25 but goes on to page 50. So it gets 25 pages of the basic fundamental principles. And because if you've done Wing Chun, you know that it's a principle-based art, right? It's based on theory, right? You have a bunch of different, key principles that sort of guide you, and constantly, you check your practice against those principles. So really good that is heavily emphasized. And then in turn, he spends a bit of time on each form. And he spends most of the time on the Sulim Tao, which is again the right thing to do because it's the early, it's the beginning, it's the foundation form. So you want to spend most of your time and effort there in a book that's sort of a, simply introduction to Wing Chun. Then he spends some time talking about Chi Sao. Chi Sao's hard to talk about in a book, right? It's one of those things that's much better shown sort of via videos or in person, obviously. But he does a good job of introducing the basic Chi Sao ideas. Also, before we crack on and talk about everything else, he has this fantastic way of showing things with these line diagrams. So like, for example, here's some of the, the Wing Chun gates, right? So rather than tons and tons of still photo, black and white or color photographs, he's got these fantastic, very simple line diagrams, which you can put, sort of like equivalent like force vectors from physics, lines on where things are supposed to be going, which really helped me when I was learning to sort of get the points that people were making. I was a beginner when I first got this book, and it really helped my practice actually, because when people were talking about triangles all the time in the lesson, you've got to have this triangular structure that Wing Chun is famous for. This showed it, and then I could feel it afterwards. I was like, oh yeah, that is kind of like, that is a triangle shape, and like, this one's like that, okay, and that's where the force is going. So yeah, brilliant. Like, I cannot rate those highly enough. Like, such a breath of fresh air in the martial arts books world. It's great. I recommend that other authors should, find out whoever the guy was that drew those pictures and get in touch with him or her and get them to help you with your book. So yeah, great line diagrams. What else have we got? So he does the Sulim Tao, spends most of his time there, which is good. A little bit on Chi Sao, and then uses Bong Lap Chi Sao, one of the basic ones, to illustrate the points of what it is and how it works. Which again, pick a basic example to work with to start off with. But on top of that, he then also blitzes through all the moves of the Chun Kill and the Bilji, right? So another 2 forms. It's brilliant, like really, really great that you get all the way there. Then at the end, then there's sort of some extra things which are not so valuable. So he's got all the movements as defined by his system. So unless you're training in his school and his system, that's not particularly useful because you might have different names or a different count or a different order. So, nice to have. Then there's something that I actually really, really like, which is he's got the 8 psychological stages of training Wing Chun, which actually could be really any martial art, right? That you go through these kind of phases whilst you're learning. And as you grow and develop. And I thought that was really useful. And I think it's definitely, I really like the model that he's proposed there, because I can definitely feel that you go through those different kind of defined phases as you practice. Then there is a really nice touch as well. It's very professionally done, this book, because he's got a glossary, so all of his key phrases. He's got references for when he has reference material, and he's got a good index where you can look everything up as well. So all those really nice touches that you'd want from an actual, properly well-written book, which again can quite often be absent in martial arts books. So yeah, simply Wing Chun Kung Fu. Definitely full-on thumbs up for this one. If you simply must buy a Wing Chun book, buy this book. Yeah, it's great. Good. So there we go. If you're studying Wing Chun, I really, really recommend you get this book. It doesn't matter if you're in his style or system or you're doing a slightly different lineage. It's just a great book, right? Which books would you like to see next, guys? Let me know, because he's written a couple of other ones, so on the dummy and weapons. So we could go and do some of his other books, see what we think about those. And on top of that, let me know if there are other areas that you want to do, because I intend to be doing ones on Wing Chun, Tai Chi, Xingyi, meditation, all that sort of stuff, right? Some Qigong books as well, probably. Yeah, so thank you very much. Please do like, share, and subscribe, yeah? And let me know which other books you want to do. See you next time.